What's up, guys? I'm gonna make another video. It's gonna be fairly scary today, so it's not even Friday. Well, because I really need to do a fairly scary because I said I was gonna do a fairly scary like a month ago, and I didn't even do it. So we are going to do fairly scary, and let me find the first video because I haven't done this in a while. So yeah, peace. All right, guys, got the video. My friend was possessed by someone in front of my eyes.
This happened to me when I was around 14 years old. I was at a sort of religious class located far from our main school building. I was drawing my cartoon characters, waiting for my teacher. However, an hour had passed and he didn't come.
Takes a long, no, why?
One of my classmates went out to see what was wrong, and it turned out that our teacher didn't arrive yet. So we had to wait a bit longer.
I'm always on Zoom.
After she told us that information, we continued waiting. I started drawing again until one of my friends, Aina, suddenly pulled on my sleeve and whispered, "Something is wrong with CT." I looked at CT, who was sitting at the back with the loud group. She wasn't saying anything or laughing. Well, it was quite weird seeing her like that, because she was the one who always talked a lot in that group. And then I saw that she was holding a small piece of black cardboard and a pocket knife.
A knife? Oh my gosh.
Since we had an art class that day, I thought that she might have been doing her homework at first. But I froze when I glanced at her the second time. She started carving something on the cardboard and very aggressively. I couldn't see what she was carving, but she then woke up, went outside of the classroom, and stood there staring at something.
That's right. That's how you know.
Aina poked my shoulder, signaling that I should check out CT's cardboard. So I sneakily went to her seat to grab the piece of cardboard she left on the table and went back to my seat.
Read it there.
As soon as we flipped the cardboard over, we got goosebumps all over our bodies. Something was written on it.
Is it like a devil worship
The words meant, "We didn't disturb them, they disturb us," in our language. Aina and I looked at each other. When I got up to return the piece of cardboard, CT was already in her seat and stared at me with a scrutinizing look on her face. I sat down and slid the piece of cardboard under my desk. All of a sudden, I had the sudden urge to know what the heck was going on. So I got up and went towards her with Aina.
If she has a knife, then I'm not going near her at all.
I asked, but she didn't answer my question. Then I could hear Aina whispering the Lord's Prayer, and my fear alarm started buzzing again. Then Aina tried to talk to CT, but for some reason, she suddenly shuddered. And I knew the reason.
Why?
CT started to mumble the exact words that she had carved onto the cardboard. But this time, her voice changed.
I'm already out of the classroom. I'm already in China, guys.
Like a demon. Her voice was deeper and lower than a man's, and her eyes simultaneously started to turn white. Her mumbling was getting louder, and now she began to scream.
What the heck? 1 second. Yes, screw that. I'm not. No. Wow. You know, I would have left the classroom. I wouldn't be there anymore. If I see that happening, I would already be at my house, chilling in bed. Not there, because that's kind of creepy. So, let's continue with the video. I'll stop talking.
And her eyes simultaneously started to turn white. Her mumbling was getting louder, and now she began to scream while shaking her whole body. Everybody in the class stood on their seats and watched, with fear. Before long, CT suddenly stopped, dropped her face slowly down on the desk, and began to sleep. I quickly returned to my seat and tried to take out the cardboard, but it was not there. I searched all over the classroom, even inside of the bin, but it was gone. The next morning, I went to CT and asked her what she was doing in class yesterday, and she replied, "Oh, I was sleeping during the whole class." "You sure?" I asked again, but she said yes, nodding her head. Was my friend possessed? Could it be real? And what she told me next made my face turn white and my heart drop. Oh yeah, while I was sleeping yesterday, I was at some church, and I saw a very beautiful stained glass window with a nun. I wonder who that nun was, though.
Alright, guys, I'm just gonna keep on going.
This is the story that happened to me a few years ago.
Alright, I gotta read it.
I was studying for the civil service examination. I came up to the big city to study, and while I was looking for the house to stay, I met one house owner. The middle-aged lady was so kind, and the rent price of the room was extremely cheap in comparison with the price at that time. All of my friends opposed and said the price is too cheap. They also told me to reconsider it, but my mind was urgent, so I just made a contract right
What's
away.
gonna be in the house? This, like, grass and
The
crap?
room was pretty big, and the window was also wide enough so that I was satisfied with my room. But a few days later, a strange smell began to come up from under my bed. At first, it was endurable, but the odor was getting worse, so I couldn't sleep at all in my
Check
bed.
under your bed just in case.
I eventually begged the owner and ended up moving to the next room, which was far away from this room. Since that day, whoever moves to that room, they all moved out again because of the smell. A few people visited in a few days, and I heard the conversation between those people and the owner while they were taking out all the stuff and removed the wallpapers in the room. "Ma'am, we had told you that it would stink. If you'd have done what we said last time, well, you'd have spent less money." And then she answered embarrassedly, "I didn't know it was going to be like this." They then began to remove the floor, change the cement, and finally changed the whole room completely. Until then,
Still
I
gonna
thought we
smell?
were just remodeling the house. But after I heard the story of the room from the other people who lived around here, I eventually realized that I was totally wrong. It is said that a few months ago, one student committed suicide in the room. And the owner at that time, she ignored the cleaning company's word that
Well,
she
that's
had
not
to
good.
reapply the cement to remove the smell that had seeped into the floor. So she just chose wiping off the blood of the body by reason that it was expensive. The cement looks hard just by looking at it, but because of the porosity, it's known that the cement has lots of small holes like sponges.
True.
But what if someone was murdered or the dead body was left unattended for a few days?
Yeah,
When
could've
the
been
blood
that.
or such thing flows downwards, it starts to rot inside and then stinks. In addition, if the dead body is left unattended for a few days, the waste begins to come out and the fat flows out when it starts to decay.
Yeah, it's probably that.
Like
Yep.
the blood and the
Someone probably got
waste
murdered.
are hard to clean, as you know. As soon as the smell penetrates through the concrete hole, you would not be able to get rid of the bad smell no matter what you do. Therefore, it's said that cement should be removed altogether because the smell would not be gone of this kind of house. Although I wasn't staying in that room at that time, I kept feeling uncomfortable, so I eventually ended up moving a while later.
I would have too.
I would like to say this to those who are currently looking for the new house. Even if a newly plastered house smells, or if you found any signs of partially cement floor, especially when the house is old, be careful. Because I'm sure that something would have happened in that house already.
Alright. Yeah, that last video we just watched, that apartment is crazy. I would just move, as soon as I smelled that, I would just move out of the whole apartment because what if it could just still reek under everything. And the other video we just watched, I didn't do a review on it. But that was scary. I would have been in my house chilling if that happened. I would have just left the school because no one wants to deal with that. No one does. Back with the other videos. Scary ones. Yep. Okay. Alright, the next video. The pictures in the mountain cat.
This happened to my older brother. When he was a college student, he joined a mountain climbing club.
That'll be fun.
One day, he went climbing in the
mountain
high
climbing.
mountains located in South Korea with 3 of his club members. The mountain was so high up that they couldn't climb all the way up in just a day. So they decided to stop by one of the mountain cabins in the mountainside and take a rest. It was a 2-story cabin, and unfortunately, the electricity was disconnected that day.
I would like to stay in the 2-story.
Well, you
part.
know, people usually don't go to sleep early on
case of
days like
break-ins.
that. So my brother and his friends drank a lot of alcohol. turned on a flashlight, and accidentally lit it up towards the wall. On the wall, there were framed pictures of the 1st, 2nd, and other mountain guards. Everyone was giggling because of the face in one of the pictures.
I won't be giggling.
Then they fell asleep. The next morning, when my brother woke up, he noticed that 2 of the club members had already gone down the mountain, and there was only one left behind. He had fainted, and froth was coming out of his mouth. He looked around in confusion, wondering what was going on. He saw something he could not believe. The cabin was surrounded by small windows.
Wait.
Well then, what the heck was there last night if what they thought were photo frames were actually windows?
Wait a second.
Alright,
no, that... Does that mean, those are actually people looking through the windows? As soon as the morning rose and I saw that, I'm out of there. Because you could be, like, in the house just hiding. Now, or the cabin, I would be out of there. No. Alright, let's just find the next... I'm done with that video.
The cabin was surrounded by small windows. Well then, what the heck was there last night if what they thought were photo frames were actually windows?
Yep, they're actually windows. Alright, the foot above my mom's...
When I was a little girl, I was scared of sleeping alone, so I used to sleep with my mom. Eventually, I had to toughen up and sleep by myself. Well, this happened when I was in high school. I had a twin-size bed in my room and decided to leave both and my mom's door open. Our bodies were facing opposite directions. I couldn't sleep that night, so I turned on my MP3 player and was laying in bed, listening to music. All of a sudden, I felt a little strange, so I turned my head around, and at that moment, I froze. I saw a person's foot on my mom's body. First of all, if someone gets too nervous, it's hard to look around clearly. However, I slowly looked up, and then I saw the face of the person standing on her body. Literally, someone was standing on my mom's body. Well, it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
What did you feel it?
I wanted to turn my head around again, but I couldn't.
Like a ghost.
I couldn't open my mouth or even listen to music anymore. I couldn't take my eyes off his face.
Oh my god, look at his eyes!
His mouth was stretching and getting bigger and bigger until eventually it ripped right under his ear. I could see that the inside of his mouth was all red. I wanted to wake my mom up somehow, so I gathered up enough courage as I could. Mom! As soon as I yelled, everything disappeared like smoke. She ran into my room, hugged me, and reassured me that everything was okay. I was leaning on her now, so that I could calm down. Soon after, I put my earphones back in and turned on my MP3 player. And that moment was really crazy and just plain scary. All of my files were gone. I had around 300 songs on the device, but all the songs were erased for no reason. I couldn't sleep at all that night and still felt bad even after waking up the next morning, so I ended up breaking my MP3 player. Well, why did my music files disappear?
Alright, well, that's gonna be the last video, okay guys? I'm probably not gonna post tomorrow since I have school. But I also might. I'm not sure. I probably will. I don't know. I don't know what to do for tomorrow. Like I can do a game or something. But yeah. See you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I might post. I don't know. Peace.